gone, except for
And we are live coming from you from the dirty South, Winston-Salem. Got a couple of Philly guys in the house. One not too happy. If you want to go catch his video.
rough way to end the year, man. That video.
I
just wanted to know his blood pressure.
No doubt. I was blushing a little bit for him. I hope he didn't read my comment yet before he come on my channel.
Oh, I read all the comments.
But you know, my Dallas team squeaked one out yesterday, a little controversially, I would admit. How you doing, Ziggy? Happy New Year to you. Yeah, so, and my dad said jokingly today, well, if Arizona beats Philly, Dallas is in first place. I was like, no way. But man, geesh, not fun way to one more game and against the Giants. How you feel about that one? I know what you were telling Mike earlier.
How do I feel about next week against the G-Men?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
They're going to get their ass kicked.
Is it it's in New York too, right?
It's in New York. Well, I mean, there's not going to be a lot of Giants fans there.
Hey, Joe, is there New Year's in Canada, or is that different? I'm just kidding. If y'all hear stuff here, they've been shooting fireworks in my parking lot since 6 o'clock, so I'm not under attack. They just been shooting fireworks here all day.
That's my boy General Sherman outside your door.
No doubt. No doubt. A few miles south of here, I'm sure his buddy, Sherman did come through here, not too far from us. Yeah, but we got Bink Scott calling in tonight. Hey, I would rather listen to Ed rant about his Eagles than listen to rants about the hobby. Yeah, I've been hearing this week some weird rants, man. What? Is there just nothing else to talk about? They're just going to make up shit now, or what's going on?
Well, if you watch the games, you don't have to make shit up because your blood pressure will go up from watching that garbage.
Yeah. It's been some weird. I don't understand some of the ranting going on, and I don't know about y'all. I've been getting autographs on cards since the 80s, so I don't know about anybody else. I can only speak for myself. I have some to prove it. But
yeah, I haven't watched any of those videos. I mean, I've heard people talk about them. There's no doubt that getting cards signed is absolutely more popular now than it was.
Right.
Like specifically like 50s, 60s, and then probably even 70s. It probably became a little more popular in the 80s.
That's 100%, Ziggy. 100%.
But, you know.
Yeah, I just know, like at minor league games, I've been going to minor league games my whole life, and it's always been a thing as long as I can remember. You go and see what major leaguers were back in the minors and get their cards signed.
But like a long time ago, like the standard's been a baseball for a very long time. And
right.
Then, like there's a reason why you'll see a lot of like old PSA DNA certified postcards. People wouldn't have anything else to get signed. They would get postcard signs.
Right. Like yeah. Whatever they had handy.
To circle back to your original question, because I sidestepped it, the Eagles are probably going to get their ass whooped next week against the Giants. I'm fully expecting that. If Drew Lock could put up 400 passing yards against this trash-ass defense that, of course, whoever the Giants throw out there, whether it be, I don't know who the hell they got. They can put in the janitor. It won't matter. They'll probably get like 500 yards. So I'm fully expected to get their ass whooped. They're going to get to the playoffs regardless, and they're probably going to get smoked in the playoffs. And now
very optimistic.
Well, this last week has all 4 teams playing each other, and in that division, you always throw out the records. I'm sorry, you just do. Washington's playing Dallas. You just throw the record book out because all these 4 teams hate each other. So it's always bloodbaths. And they always play them on the last weekend against each other. Usually it's Dallas, Philly. This is random about grading while sitting in front of a buttload of graded cards. Don't get it. Yeah, I'm with you there too, Gary. I was wondering the same thing. With current
autograph point, I'm going to trademark it, but the hobby is not a hive mind. Not everyone collects the same way.
Exactly.
And I do agree with the general premises, though, that's been said, that getting autographs on cards was generally frowned upon. That is 100% true.
Yes.
Problem is, though, that not everyone thinks that way. Like, there's always going to be outliers and people who do things their own way.
Right.
So I'm sure there was people in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s who were just getting cards signed. And I think it's important to make the distinction between autograph collector and sport card collector, because they are 2 different things. Sometimes they intersect, but sometimes they do intersect, but they are 2 different things sometimes. How many playing day put in? I saw Mike saw it. It was at the Chamonix Mall card show. The guy who had all the Cornelius Mack photos from the 30s and the 40s, he had a signed food and beverage card of Willie Puddinhead Jones. Mike, what was it? Like some kind of meat product or something?
It was it was a bread label.
Gary's wants to thank you, Mike, for that Billy Martin deal.
And that was $300, and I really wanted to buy it. I probably should have went back and bought it. It was raw. It was not graded, so I would have to send it in to get graded, which wouldn't be too much money. But, dude, like, even with the oddball Philly stuff, like, you'll see autographs of, like, just the most obscure Phillies. Like, I don't know, Mike, throw out a random Philly from the 50s or the 60s.
Stan Lapata.
Look at my Andy Semenuk I just got recently.
Well, here's Orlando said it just seems like more vintage auto cards are being sold now.
Because there's such a huge demand for them now.
There's no doubt that there's probably some fake bullshit out there.
There's tons of
that's where ultimately I think that the discussion is meaning to go. Is like,
but
okay,
at
one time,
of course, like
nobody wanted to get them graded. Nobody wanted autos on the cards, but now all of a sudden, there's autos of these players everywhere. And I mean, that's a very good point.
So, a couple things. One, you're welcome, Gary. Hopefully you're happy with that. Glad it ends up in your collection. 2, in terms of the cards, of course, there's a few things. Like, 1, some of the collectors have, if they're collecting an autograph from 40, 50 years ago, or at the point where some of them are passing away and the cards are becoming available, maybe family members are selling them off, stuff like that. Or people are just getting older and going, you know what? I don't need this stuff. I'm going to sell it off. And also, when things get hot, that's when stuff comes out of the woodwork.
Right.
You notice, a year or 2 ago, whenever it was, when 90s stuff was all the rage, all of a sudden, a lot of 90s stuff was being put up for sale because people wanted it and the prices were rising. Same thing happens with the modern stuff as well, right? Juan Soto gets red hot, more stuff gets listed. I mean, granted, there's tons of his shit out there anyway because he's a modern player and he's got new cards coming out, weekly. But, it's always like, even like the 89 Griffey when it was hot. Look how many 9s were going up. And, of course, those are examples of items where there's a lot more available. But I think you do see that because the trend has been moving where hand-signed autograph cards have been growing immensely in popularity over the last 5 years, especially rookies and stuff. So of course more are going to come to market.
Yep.
You could say the same about Star Wars, the 1977 Luke Skywalker. How many of that card's been graded in the last 3 to 4 years? Prior to the pandemic, that card, there was maybe like 100 copies of that card graded. Now all of a sudden, boom, a couple big sales and they're flooding it.
Got thrown out there, and I mean, I have a bunch of, but I mean, 77, I was 6, so they look like a 6-year-old had them. So I mean, or 7, when I had them. We got the original Midlife Card Crisis here. Welcome, Dave.
Cool. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. How you doing tonight, Dave?
Good. I'm in the car, so driving home from work. So
okay.
That's why you can't see my pretty face.
But we can hear you, man. We can hear you.
Yeah.
Welcome tonight, man. Be careful going home. Orlando agrees with you. We got Hitman saying hey to everyone. Gary says, can Jeff Wilson with his 300,000 subs wake up a market? He has been pumping auto cards for 6 months. I mean, to me, auto cards since what? When did they start being regularly in product in y'all's minds?
I mean, the first one was in the early 90s,
2000s.
right? I think they start becoming more popular in the mid. They started being more produced in like 95. I'd say 96. Wasn't 96 when you had Leaf Signature Series or Donner
Right.
Signature Series?
Yeah.
That was the first product where it was like an autograph in every pack or whatever.
Yeah, I think so. Like 91 or 92 Pro Line had some football autographs in them, and then you would have the score would have or Upper Deck would have the Ted Williams or Nolan Ryan or something like that, and then
Mickey Mantle
Donner
signed for
Series.
score too.
Yeah, I think him and DiMaggio.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that pushed the autograph card more than I still, for non-sports, I love even sports. I mean, you can see them behind me. I love 8x10s. That's my wheelhouse. I still have a buttload of cards with autos. Don't get me wrong. Upper Deck Heroes, Orlando says. So yeah, that had what, the Nolan Ryan or whatever Chase in there. Front Row did some early autos, I believe. Yeah, so you have a combination of both. It's just the autograph card is here to stay, and I understood what the point was after I watched most of the video. It wasn't so much of like it's a disgrace to have autos on cards. It just was more of, okay, nobody wanted them, but where did they all come from? And then are they all real? Which are all great points. So, but I'm sure there was enough people out there, enough with cards at fields and whatever, baseball fields, that were getting them signed, no matter what people were saying, oh, that's a disgrace or whatever. But I don't think cards in the 50 guys and the kids in the 50s look at the cards the same way we do now. So I think it's a whole different mindset.
It all comes back though to the buyer just doing their due diligence, and in this hobby, you have to do your due diligence. Just like there's definitely a lot of fake autographs out there, just like there's a shit ton of Dr. Trim high-end, high-grade vintage cards out there.
Right.
Just
even
with moderate, there were some trim Tom Brady's out there on his Absolute Playbook autograph. So
yeah.
you have to do your due diligence in this hobby.
And you're 100% correct, Ed. And here's a guy that, when he speaks, I do listen, is Rick. It is interesting to see the amount of Mickey Mantle autos on his playing day cards, considering he passed away in 95, just saying. But I bet you in his early days at the ballpark, people they were allowed to stand there and
But I
ask
think a
for
lot of them, I mean,
So-
how many are signed in ballpoint pen? How many are signed in Sharpie? Like, I don't know. I've never looked up
Right.
autograph. Like, he signed a lot at shows, at one point. So
Yeah.
I'm sure a fair number were gotten
Hey,
there.
James,
And again, there could
buddy.
be some bullshit ones out there as well. I
Oh,
mean, I
I'm
know
sure.
he has, there's posters and all that type of stuff that were put out.
Right.
But he also is someone who's been, I'm sure, forged a lot over the years too.
Yeah.
So I think so with Mickey Mantle, from what I've heard, is there's like they pretty much the authenticators really know what his signature looks like.
Yeah.
Because so there's my uncle used to be a bat boy for the Yankees, back in those days, and Mantle used to have the clubhouse manager sign all his autographs for him from like a long time ago. They would pass out, so like they know which ones are actually signed by Mantle, and they knew which ones were signed by the other guy.
Right.
That would be called secretarial.
Yeah, and
Well,
I
that's
mean,
what
we
the
know that's
terminology
a
is.
lot. That's a whole lot of going on here now. I mean, these cards you get in a pack, you don't know who signed them. You don't know if it's somebody's mama, somebody paid somebody, their assistant, whatever. Unless there is somebody standing right there as they're signing them, it's whatever. Especially these people now, they got like 2 lines and that's it as their autograph. No telling. So you just gotta have a belief that's what it is. Let's see. Orlando says, I got Mantle's autograph back in the days, but on a photo and a press still card, never on a vintage card. Yep. It was, let's see, Rick. It was it was a no-no in the 70s to face a card with a signature. I don't remember until late 80s seeing Topps card slide. Yeah, Rick, I did it from day one as a kid because I was a kid. I feel like I didn't know anything about it. Not till I got going to card shows as an adult did I ever hear that it was defacing a card. I was just having fun having guys that played in the majors at the minor league game signing my card.
The thing is, though, that autograph collectors aren't going to view it that way.
So now it's acceptable. It's no longer looked at that way. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that probably the people that did get cards signed back then were not necessarily sports card collectors.
Oh, okay.
They just didn't care about the cards. It was just a means to get the autograph, or was more convenient for them.
Right. I just thought it was.
There is a
cool.
distinction that should be made there. I mean,
Right.
I think the guy that they talk about all the time is Uncle Jimmy. Uncle Jimmy was an autograph collector. He wasn't necessarily a card collector.
Right. And I mean, I didn't mean to really. I just we kind of fell into this by accident, but I just didn't. Well, somebody brought it up on the side chat because I was watching it, and at first I didn't really understand what was going on. And then as more I watched it, I was like, okay, it makes sense to me now. But I really just didn't think much of it. St. Orlando got it at 84 National, but they didn't call it the National. It was $15. Okay. Yeah. So my next question to you guys is I heard Ed's thing today talking more about 2024. Do you feel like you had a good 2023 year? Has this been a better year than after the COVID phase? How do y'all feel 2023 kind of fell for y'all as it came to collecting?
I think it was great for collecting. 2023 was awesome as a collector.
It felt like we turned a corner, didn't it? Like
it was all right.
Well, you got your feet in both sides of the world there, Mike.
But as a collector, it was good. I wouldn't say it was great. It depends what you're collecting, though. Like if you're collecting the stuff that everyone's dumping, it was great. If you're
That's
focusing
cool,
more on pre-war, it was good, but the prices didn't go down. The prices just continued to slowly rise the way they generally do. And if you're someone who likes to open wax, the prices continue to rise. Maybe not to a monster degree. It's a little more affordable. Certain things were a little cheaper, but
the price of wax is out of control.
direct from the, you brought up like the Brooklyn collection, like stuff like that. It's up another $25 or $50.
I was drastically. You're right. There was
like,
that
and
middle.
it also depends. Like, if you're looking for common stuff, it's great. If you just want like a Juan Soto, like PSA 10, the same thing like those prices are still down. But if you're looking for like new release stuff, like say Bryce Harper color parallels, like they're not that cheap. You can get some. Don't get me wrong. If you hunt enough, you can get them at auction at a decent price. But the stuff being listed is being listed high, and I don't blame people because there's not that many available. It might be a gold refractor numbered out of 50, and the product will be out for 2 months, and you only see 3 or 4 listed. Because, like you mentioned in one of your recent videos, a lot of it's probably not being ripped right away because the shit is too expensive. And modern singles are, and I'd say this from a seller perspective, but also from a collector perspective, based on the cost of the products are so high, and most single prices are theoretically too cheap. If you calculate how expensive the products are and how difficult it is to get it, like you can get cards for $10 that literally would cost you $10,000 to pull. Now, obviously, the cost of the card is never going to be the cost of obtaining the card. I get that. But it's like and don't get me wrong, there's certain players, like, for example, Zach Wheeler, Kyle Schwarber, guys like that, who I would like to collect some of as a Phillies collector, but they just don't have big collectors bases. Like, you can get their stuff cheap. But Bryce Harper is like one of the top probably 5 guys, active players in baseball, collector-wise. His shit's really expensive because there's so much competition and there's just not that much available. And the cost of the new products is so expensive.
Right.
That, people are still losing money when they're opening it. So, of course, they're going to ask $75 for a card that you'd rather pay $30 for. So it all depends. Like, but overall, it's still a great year for collectors.
So let me ask you this. After you opened that Brooklyn box, you made a comment. Did you rather kept that probably sealed and sold it as a seal package for $250?
I mean, I probably could have sold it for $250 after fees. The thing is, though, after fees and stuff, if I would have sold that, I would have made like $20. So it's like, I mean, I could have held it and maybe it would go up. But if you just want to move it, like, it wasn't. I'm not going to
Don't hold wax.
I'm going to lose a little bit on it based on what I got. If I would have gotten the Wander Franco card I pulled, if I would have, like the Bryce Harper and that's like a probably $65, $75 card. And a lot of the players in that particular insert or parallel are like $50, $60. I hit, the biggest loser in the product. I thought about mailing it back, and I still might because the quarters chipped.
The best thing you could have got was him.
I might send it back and request a random. And like,
if you got a Arias auto, that would have just topped it off.
I do remember
beater box
back in the 90s. Remember Ray Caruth?
Yeah.
I remember I had an autograph card of him, and I think and I remember my dad like going, "Oh, I'm going to mail that back and say that this guy shouldn't be in products or something. Send a random autograph back." And I like thought about doing that with the Franco.
Dude, Papa O is the man.
Yeah, Papa. I was surprised he didn't do it after spending some time with him. I'm surprised he didn't do it. Yeah, because when you were opening that, and I'm sitting here going, I wonder how much of that product is still sealed up.
Well, I bought 3 or 4 boxes last year, and I didn't open any of them. I still have them. I might. Those cost about $150. They're going for about $250. And I thought about opening one, and I'm like, I should just sell the damn thing.
Yeah,
because you could get like Ohtani or Pujols or someone awesome, but you could also get, kind of mediocre players.
And for somebody, I mean, like me, because Pete Alonso, his cards are kind of, they're in that middle range where it's weird. One card,
his high end stuff. I saw some like red autos to 5 that sold for like a lot.
Right.
But his more common stuff,
right?
You know, it's below the Harper level, I would say, but it's not, you know, a common level.
Right. I just saw. I mean, you know, if I had the money right now, I could be cleaning up on some very good autos that are out there, ending tonight, on there that are not very low numbered, but you know, less than 200, and there's actually one with him, Keith Hernandez, and David Wright on the same card. That's 300 right now, and I thought that was very reasonable for. Well, none of them are Hall of Famers, so they I guess that card really sucks. But anyway,
David Wright ain't even worth mentioning.
That's right. I just forgot about it. None of them are Hall of Famers. What am I talking about?
No, but like I know what Ed was talking about, saying, you know, it's good. Like it was like the National was enjoyable because dealers were willing to work and able to work. Like it was certainly an improvement on the last couple of years, and it was
that's kind of like where I was saying with turn a corner
for sure.
Because yes, the pricier stuff is going to stay pricey. Wax is still kind of dumb on some levels, but just talked to JD last night on his channel. He bought a box of Heritage High Number for $50 and had fun. Did pretty well opening it. You've opened some and did pretty well with it.
There's certain products that are very affordable, and then there's others that are like
right. But it's not the flashy stuff. It's not the pretty chromium, pretty stuff. Because that Bowman draft to me still makes me want to. And I know we're talking about prices. You know, Ed, forgive me, but I'm talking about buying, not necessarily selling.
Hey, Ed will watch this video now, but once midnight strikes,
Martin, nope.
Well, you're talking about 2023. I felt like on the YouTube side of things, that's like all I ever hear about now. It's annoying. I'm tired of hearing about this shit. The implication of value in every video, like, and it's fine if I don't want to like say you can't do this and you can't do that. Talk about whatever you want. I don't care, but I don't know, man. When you're presenting yourself as one way and then you're like just totally fixated. You're addicted to the value. And you're supposed to be you're presented as a collector. Why do you give a shit about what stuff is selling for? Who gives a shit?
Yeah, the only time I can see it when you're trying to buy and you're trying to get a feel of what's going on, getting a feel, because you know the market's been crazy, up, down, sideways, one way or the other. It's like the stock market. You know, during COVID, it went really crazy where a guy could go 3 for 4 and his cards just went through the roof for whatever reason. I know it's always been kind of that way, but like during COVID, it went really crazy with that because people were bored.
If you could go back in time, that was a good time to sell a lot of stuff you had that you kind of didn't really want as much as you thought you wanted, and you would have been able to save up and then buy some crazy awesome stuff that you actually do want. I mean, I have boxes of stuff that I don't really look at much, and now I'm like, if I sell that stuff, you know, it's going to be tough to move, whereas back then, you know, two good games in a row, you could have banked big money.
Right. Yeah, because I've been, you know, watching everybody, and I didn't have per se like goals for 23. I had goals for the National. I have
some investors on the cusp of cleaning up. I got 2 minutes left on some auctions over on my thing. I had a bunch of good stuff that sold earlier, but everything that's left other than a box of Garbage Pail Kids and some soccer stuff are Wander Francos, and someone just bid $1 on a 2019 Bowman Chrome 9.5 SGC. $1 that I paid, you know, how much? Probably $15, $16 to get graded. That card
Right.
used to be like $50. A rookie card, green to 99, is like $5. Taking a beating on that.
You should have invested in the dead, fool.
Should have.
Yeah.
Wander Franco is an asshole, by the way. Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out if he's guilty.
That's an understatement.
Even being involved in this stuff, and the reason I say that,
It looks bad right now when he can't be showed up for
Dude's
questions.
running from the
other
law.
day-
He's a fugitive.
the other day I was across the river visiting my brother, sister-in-law, and 3 nieces, nephew. And then at the end, I'm talking to my nephew and my brother, and we start talking about baseball and start random stuff about the Phillies and stuff. And then my nephew randomly goes, "Oh, I got to ask you, what happened to Wander Franco? How come he just disappeared late last season and Major League
boy.
Baseball?" And like kids observe this stuff. He's like,
Right.
Oh,
he
Right.
boy.
disappeared off the front of the website. And I was like, oh, he got himself in a little trouble. It's like, I don't know how to answer this. He's 8 years old. And then my brother's like, yeah, I think I heard he was stealing candy bars. And I'm just like,
That's fucked up.
but like, that's just stuff like
We did touch
guys
on that.
getting in this
357.
trouble. Like, brutal, man. It,
Yeah.
it puts you in a rough position, you know? And that's why it is pretty bad that like the Brooklyn collection, I'm like, why is Wander Franco in this product?
Yeah. Why is he? Why
Like
didn't they pull
I
it?
understand there were some products that was too late, but that product came out late enough that
Yeah,
you
but
couldn't pull his cards back.
let's
Look, I got
let's address
holiday
the-
cards and Verlander's in an Astros jersey.
There you go.
let's talk about a harsh truth though in regards to Franco. He played on the Rays, and let's be real. I would say 97% of the people buying his cards were speculating on him.
Well, yeah, no doubt.
Who
Oh,
was
yeah.
actually collecting him?
I mean, there might be a Rays fan out there. It
I
won't
mean,
many
there
of
might
the
be like
people-
4 Rays fans and maybe like the Fox crew and maybe a couple other Rays fans, but that's it.
Right.
Everyone else was speculating, and his stuff was always expensive.
I
was
do have some
always
of his rookie
expensive.
cards because I get the hot rookies. I still have them in my collection. So
There was
Yeah,
so
I
many
mean, he
people
was-
speculating.
He was definitely one of the more hyped. Like he is going to be the poster boy. Greg Jeffries has gotten a bad rap for a long time because he was
Right.
actually a good big league player. You would take a Greg Jeffries if your team made a draft pick this year. He
Mhm.
just didn't live up to the hype of the hobby.
right.
But like Franco is going to be the new poster boy especially if he never plays again, which all signs are kind of pointing that way.
Well,
Because like in the hobby, he was very, very hyped to a ridiculous level. And he was part of this land where we had these, beyond forget about comic cards. We had,
for his sake, I hope he is on a run and not still with us.
He
It's
did. It was reported. He's a fugitive in the Dominican Republic.
or not spiritually a fugitive. Do you understand what I'm saying there, Ed?
That's fucked up.
I'm just saying it. It's a little different there than it is here, brother.
I should have said that's FUBAR.
No, you're good. I don't have any monetization to be demonetized. So we're good.
Thank heavens.
That's why I cussed early. So if you want to get it out of your system again, you go right ahead.
you're getting it out of Ed. That's why Ed joins other channels.
So Ed, you did put on some like what you're, are they really goals for 2024 or just things you're hoping for in 2024?
They're goals, but I'm not going to, like, in regards to the Game of Thrones stuff,
Right.
I can buy those cards right now, but I'm not going to pay the exorbitant prices that they're asking for them
Right.
because they're not worth that.
Right.
Especially when they're like a couple of the cards I need, they're not key characters or actors. So why am I paying an exorbitant amount for that card? Like if one comes to auction, I know it's going to sell for well below that. So I'm just going to have to continue to wait. and I've been waiting for a long time, and I'll continue to wait.
Sounds like Ed is an investor that isn't happy with the buy-in price of the current value. It seems like he's worried about that.
You got to worry about. That's what I'm saying. You got to worry about prices somewhere, because I'm the same way with some Pete Alonso cards. I am watching them because the prices on them.
Oh, you weren't
ridiculous.
Reese was with me at the Philly show. I ran across this non-sports dealer, which they're becoming more and more. I'm seeing them more at shows. But anyway, this guy had a lot of Game of Thrones stuff. I was with Reese, and oh my God. There was like his entire showcase, there was only 2 cards that were priced appropriately. And I know Game of Thrones autograph card prices. So don't come at me with some silly ass comp. I know what these cards sell for.
Right. Amari said he that Franco fired his lawyer. Maybe he's looking for a new lawyer. That's where he's at. But the reason why I ask is like I don't really set hobby goals. I set life goals, and for the new year, and my hobby kind of has to take a part of that, because life is part of, like especially financially, which I talk about very openly on this channel. So that's why I was wondering, because I got asked last night about goals, and I really don't, because I readjust all the time and reassess what I'm doing. I don't know. When I start making goals for my hobby, it feels like a job at that point. I've talked about that before.
That's one of the reasons I don't. And I know people do it, and it can be neat, and it's good content, I guess. But
right,
I see people put like top 50 cards and all that. Like
I could usually tell which tax bracket you're in by what your goals are.
But like, it'd be cool to do that, but I don't have really the time to sit there and actually. I mean, I could just pull out random. Here's 50 cool cards, but like.
Right.
That's why I generally don't do those. I've always thought about doing top 10 cards in different categories, but I just, and then like you, for me, like my goals for the hobby next year to have a good time and have fun when it comes to the collecting part.
Right. That's it.
I always have a list of things I'd like, and I'm always adding to it. And there's some that sit there for a while, like. I mean, in my mind at this national, I'll pick up a Hank Aaron rookie, but I've also thought maybe I would do that the last like 2 or 3 years. But there's always, rare stuff you're looking for and hoping to get. And you just kind of adjust on the flow. You pick up cheap stuff and have a good time.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if he showed up in the new Saudi baseball league. I think extradition laws are pretty difficult there.
Oh my God.
That's pretty funny.
That's pretty.
What's up, Doug? Yeah, you're right, man. Gary, content.
Oh, I hate that word. Get that out of there.
Well, I know you brought it up today, and I know you don't look at it that way, because you're really. I mean, I have goals in my hobby, but it's the same thing as it all. I'm going to take over the world, the brain.
I mean, I did that willy-nilly though, because I didn't want the video to. I didn't want the video I did today to be all doom and gloom. It had to have a little light at the end of the tunnel.
Gary said that was for you anyway. Content. Yeah,
Gary just raised my blood pressure.
Because I do think people honestly have goals. I'm not just. They set goals, they go out to meet them, and, I don't have any problem with that. For me, it's just, I play by ear, man. I want to buy some Pete's, I want to buy some Davids, and, pick up some 71s graded along the way and some other cards. And if I put down numbers, then it becomes like a thing. If I write it down, I just have
I want to purchase 457 cards this year at this, but like I don't have time for that. Again, you have some of those big cards you're looking for, and it's part of the journey. And if you run into them, you run into them. Maybe there's a certain card you decide I'm definitely going to pick this up and I'm going to work towards it. And otherwise, I feel like along the way, a new product comes out and you're like, wow, this is a cool product. I want to collect something out of it. Or you watch someone's video or you see something at a show of a card that is somehow makes you think about a player or team you collect, see if they're in a set, and then you kind of go after that. Like it just flips around.
And like Dom here, I mean, he did a thing, his last video where he's talking about his biggest pickups for, cards, like Christmas cards from people in the hobby to send into him. I mean, that's, I got some cards in here and our friendship and things like that and building on other friendships. To me, that is, and that's not a goal. That's just something, that's just life, man. It's life, right? I've had great, my YouTube, I just want to keep doing what I'm doing and piss off as little people as possible. And, I know Carlos wants me to start pissing off more, but I just can't do it. I just can't do it. So, I heard Ed today talking about more listening to collectors. I am too. And I don't care what you collect. I don't care if you collect staples or whatever. If you're passionate, you're going to have my ear.
Do you know many staple collecting YouTube channels?
I don't. But I bet you if you're passionate about it, I'll find it. I told you, I've gotten into, like, I don't collect them, but I love watching them as people that do the Hot Wheels Matchbox cars, and they race them, gravity race them. I think that's awesome. I sit here and watch it all the time. I think it's great. That is very passionate people about what they do. It is awesome. I just bought the Dominance insert set for $270 from Topps Chrome Update. That is, if I remember, that is a pretty cool insert, isn't it? I'm trying to think.
It's pretty short printed too.
Yeah, that Topps Update, man. I think I don't know about Chrome because it's still a little bit on the pricey side, but the actual flagship, that's a sneaky, like, good stuff, I think, with the players that were in it. I really do like that product.
Chrome Update Sapphire, I think, was actually pretty good. Pricey again, but at least there's some value because from what I've seen, people have been, and I didn't, of course, that's one I didn't buy at all. But I think people are getting like 3-4 color per box. They're getting an autograph a box. The autograph checklist is actually pretty strong. So, like, that's what Sapphire should be, not the regular Sapphire that had 0 autographs and like 1 color. And that product was rough.
So back to Ed. You're looking for Grover Cleveland Alexander. You're not going to do Von Hayes anymore, or?
I've been trying to pick up his cards for a while.
Von Hayes?
Not like no, the President of the United States. But it's
I think Ed's just trying to copy off of me. He saw the giant one I got at the National, and
that was dope. That was cool.
Yes. What was the one you just got, Mike, in the last one that you showed? That's
I'll tell you what one of my whale cards are. Like, one of my whale cards that I really want to get is the Cracker Jacks Cornelius Mack. I've been wanting that thing for at least 4 to 5 years. But that shit is way too expensive.
Yeah, that right there.
See, that's what I want. I want one of that.
If you think Cornelius is too expensive, I'm not sure buying this one anytime soon.
Dude, he was so good. Like, Grover Cleveland Alexander, I didn't watch him play, but I'm a box score checking bum. I check his stats. Dude, he was amazing.
Yeah, but you love the history of the Phillies. I love the history of the game. That's why I pick up Roberto Clemente. Once I got 3 cards that I need, and then I'm going to move on to somebody else. And I already have those thoughts. Hopefully I do get them here within this year. They're very accessible cards. It's just not high on my list a lot of times. I usually try to pick up those type of things in person. I don't like buying vintage online. That's me. I don't like to do it. I like
Not
to
even grade it.
No, because I like to see it in hand. I want to see where the creases are. I want to see if there's any holes, damage. I want to see it. And if it's visually acceptable, I can't see all of that online. I can't, you know what I'm saying? I can't see all the blemishes. And I have to buy such a low grade that I want to see where the low grade is coming from. If, you know, what I'm saying is I feel more comfortable just seeing it in hand. That's just me.
Some of these guys that like Grover Cleveland Alexander, though, when you look at their life, though, like these, like there's a lot of tragedy that just gets glossed over with some of these guys. Even like a person like Connie Mack, like what happened to him when he got older and the betrayal that he experienced. Like there's some of these guys, like there's some real sad shit with some of these guys.
Now looking, we were talking about 2024 and goals for 2023. Is there anything that just jumps out at you that is going to be a great memory for this year
from 2023?
Yeah,
like what was a standout memory?
Yeah,
Big Chicken, baby.
I do have great memories of that, and it's not all great. You know what I'm saying? The reason why they're great memories is because they're funny after the fact. Lights going out. Where's my keys? 150 degrees in the building.
The National was amazing. I saw a couple people again, but this is just my perspective. Like the National, the cards are great. I say this all the time. The cards are great, but like at the end of the day, it's just another card show. So it's just like wingy ding ding dong. But all my favorite memories are from outside the National, like just interactive with people. Like Big Chicken, meeting the IRP guys at Portillo's.
Yep.
The power going out. Where's the keys?
Yeah.
The Airbnb from the pits of hell.
Getting to meet the famous Mike Fabian.
Meeting back up with Mike Fabian after all these years. Like that's what it is for me. Like, and I picked up like, Harry Kalas, like some like big items for my Phillies collection. Like a Harry Kalas, one of his, I think his only certified autograph, and a Mike Schmidt rookie. I mean, I love those cards. They're incredible. They're keystones for the Phillies collection. But I mean, it's the people, man.
Had that Ron Say rookie. Oh.
There's no doubt that Big Scott's favorite moment of 2023, one that he'll remember to the, his final moments on Earth, was breakfast. Breakfast and
at the National.
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't because
about the show.
Actually, my favorite moment of
that guy who's with you sometimes.
You self-muted yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. My favorite part of the year is actually going to the Hall of Fame. That is kind of I don't want to say life changing, but it changed my outlook on a lot of things in my favorite sport. The thing that
plus you got to see your favorite video game store ever.
Yes, that you ain't lying about that. I still think about that place. 357 wants to know, Ed or Miko? I heard the other day on Chicago Sports Radio that Joe Madden used to order food from a place near Philly, I believe, that sells cold pizza. Never knew that was a thing. LOL.
He's from Hazleton, which is probably like an hour and a half outside of Philadelphia.
Joe Madden's a hipster, so it won't surprise me.
I wonder if he means John Madden or Joe Madden. I don't know.
I will say Cooperstown changes you. Like you go in that building, you don't leave the same. I learned a lot of horrible truths in that
I must
building
have
when I went
changed
in
quite
there.
a few times.
When I went inside that building, boy, my eyes were open.
Yeah, and you start actually like seeing the history, and it's a living history, right? So it's just so in your face, and everywhere you look, there's something. I know I missed things. It was just, you love
Kind of
this
amazing
sport.
how many people love the Hall of Fame who've never been to the Hall of Fame. It's sort of like loving baseball and not watching the sport.
I was thinking the same thing.
That makes my blood boil.
Yeah.
Boil.
I mean, and like you said, it's not necessarily the
I got you
easiest place to
357.
travel to, but like, got to make that pilgrimage someday.
Yeah, it's not the easiest place, but it's not hard either. It's an hour drive from an airport.
Yeah, you don't have to take a boat across the ocean or something.
No, you don't have to hitchhike or put on, snow. Unless that's the way you want to go. I'm not telling you what the what's up, Blue Rock? I need to watch his impromptu last night, late night live. I haven't got around to seeing that yet.
You should have, like, Scott, like when me and Mike though went to the Hall of Fame, boy, how many people did I piss off when I went in there?
Well, Ed's always trying to.
Why are you pissing off people everywhere you go?
When we were there, though, it wasn't. It was probably, I can't remember. We went more.
Did you go in there and say hashtag watch the games? Is that what you said?
When did we go, Scott? We went in what, October? Well, it was the baseball playoffs. So it was later October, right?
Yep.
I think when we went, it was like a week or two after the Nationals. So it was probably early August. So it was a little more crowded when I was there with Ed. When we went, there were people there for sure. There was a good amount of people, but it wasn't. You weren't in as much close contact with people where you're kind of engaging in conversation a little more. Whereas Ed would start, a battle with a guy over Jimmy Rollins and Barry Larkin and taking showers and all kinds of stuff. Interesting conversation.
Cap is a KKK motherfucker.
Next time I go to the Hall of Fame, I'm definitely flipping off that dude's plaque. Tear that damn plaque off the wall.
It was walking around mapping out exhibits for Juan Soto. That's probably some truth to that. But I just what really, I wish they would have had. I know they took it down and they're going to redo it for the Negro Leagues when we were there. But when we were the part for the Hispanic, that was also. I wish I had somebody there that could speak, some Spanish with me, but a lot of it was translated. But to see the Clemente stuff from Puerto Rico, and for somebody that loves that history of the sport, that was, and in the women's part where, not only World War II, but now all the coaches and where they've been at, through the history of the sport, that was pretty cool to read through too. And I still can't get over the actual equipment that people used to use early on in this game. That was something right there. And I really like the Babe Ruth, how they put that in upstairs. Babe Ruth was the king of that era, and then you go upstairs and you got the kind of the modern era where Hank Aaron is king. So
I love the big dropout of Hank Aaron.
I love the card section as well. I think that's an awesome touch, especially for card collectors. Literally, almost an example from every set.
Yeah.
Produced through certain eras, and some big boy cards there too.
Yes, they were, and I just can't believe they just got them in a glass
at the end of the line
case.
and you don't know what to do with your collection, and you don't feel like selling it, then just donate it to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and I wish I was there for the earlier Gary Carter collection they had there. They didn't have his whole set there. Like, I think Reese sent me a picture of it before when he went. But like I said, it just awesome. Can't wait to go back. Thank you, Mike and your dad. I can't stop thanking y'all so much for getting me up there.
We should all go in 2024, so I can definitely flip off that Cap Anson plaque and tear that thing off the wall.
It's a pretty cheap trip. I mean, Scott, it's a little more rough because you either have to drive far, which gas costs money, or fly. But for Ed, it's not too tough.
I think
Great place to stay. Tickets to the Hall of Fame, $20-$30.
Yep. And I mean, and that whole street, for us is, yes, the card shops were overpriced if you didn't know what you were looking at.
It would definitely be. I mean, this time I would try and go a little bit earlier in the year so more places would be open. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bigger crowd. I don't want to be there when it's crazy crowded.
Right.
Unless eventually if Chase Utley gets inducted in the Hall of Fame. Because, by the way, I was going to bring this up because I haven't heard it said. There's no doubt of all the guys on the Hall of Fame ballot, Chase Utley would draw by far the biggest crowd for an induction. Is it
because of the Philly area there?
Philadelphia's close, and Philadelphia will show out for him. More so than for Rollins or Abreu. Not Abreu is, probably never going to get in on the writers' ballot. But
he has better numbers than Andrew Jones.
I mean, I think the biggest crowd ever was Schmidt and Ashburn, which was obviously
wow. How do you guys find the non-card collectors receive the card section of the Hall of Fame? Do you just pass by it?
No, you hear. I think even when I was there with you, Scott.
Yes, they were weird.
People. Do they still? Every time I hear it, do they still make baseball cards? Oh, I had some of those cards. My mom or wife or whoever threw them out.
Right.
Or this person donated them. You always hear that stuff because I always stop there and look at the stuff.
Right. And when just not collecting, but baseball cards are part. Ed said it today. It's an extension of the fandom. It's in the Hall of Fame. The cards are in the Hall of Fame. So it is an extension of the sport that you're watching. It's
still how people connect to the sport too. Obviously back in the 50s, specifically the 50s, because they were a little more, the pre-war stuff was accessible in different ways, of course. But I think the 50s is more so where people in a more mainstream type of way collected them. They were more popular. They were probably more readily available in different areas, at least in specific sections, where people had them and collected them and traded them and played with them and flipped them. And that's how, you had the color images of the players you liked. And that's how you read their statistics and things. Like you could follow the season through the newspaper or through the radio, but you couldn't just pop on MLB.TV on your phone or computer or whatever. And
how often did you spin the bike wheel up there, Scott? How many times did you spin the bike wheel up there?
I didn't do it. He did it.
Yeah, I think I did it once. I was like, you got to spin it.
Yeah, I just started laughing. Old Top Hat. Oh, yeah, Top Hat. What's his name again? Is that his real name, Top Hat? I can't remember anymore.
Who cares? Teapot.
Teapot.
I spun that bike wheel like about 10 times, and I think I made a comment. I'm like, how many manuals are in the bike spoke? I think at the time there was like an old guy next to me, and he said, son, I had 5 manual cards in my bike spokes.
If you're a big baseball fan, in all likelihood, you have at some point opened a pack of cards or collected them for even a short while as a kid or maybe into your teenage years. Most people probably fall out of the hobby. We're the maniacs that do it enough that we, not only watch videos, we make videos and such. But you always hear it, like when you're up there, you hear people discuss it.
Yeah, let's bring back the V word in 2024. I make videos. Let's bring it back, baby. Let's bring the old school terminology back. We make videos.
Scott is either reading something very interesting.
We don't make no.
I'm giving Lou Rock a wrench.
Get rid of the C word. Get rid of that shit.
Lou Rock a wrench. He wants a wrench. I gave him a wrench. There you go, Lou Rock. It's good. 357. It's going to be in the second Young Guns. And so that be, I can't remember when the second one comes out, but he's going to be in that one. So if you have the one in the first one that's supposed to be the short print, it's going to be worthless then, because everybody's going to want the Young Guns.
By the way, I never asked you this, but what did you guys eat after the Hall of Fame? Did you eat in Cooperstown?
Yeah, we would ever get to the pizza place, which I liked. I got a Stromboli.
That was a little lunch type thing. What did we eat for dinner? Did we go back to the house and eat something?
We went back to the house and ate.
Because was there a baseball game that night? I forget.
Yeah. I think we made a decision. I think we stopped and maybe snacked on something. I can't remember, because me and you wanted to look at some more shops, because we spent a lot of time.
The best are the card shops, because when you go into some of those card shops, it is literally like you are walking into a time machine.
Right.
There's like one or two shops that are like straight from the peak 90s. There's like gobs of dust, like 4 inches of dust everywhere, yellow top loaders, and prices, like peak prices from like the mid 90s on like common cards. It is straight insanity.
Right.
Was that the night of the pierogies?
I think it was.
And you go in there and you're like, whoa, what year is this?
No, that was the next night, because that's when we went into town.
We stopped after the.
I forgot about the pierogies. I don't know how, but I forgot about them.
I think I found like a Ken Griffey Jr. 1993 upper deck for like $50, and it had like a bent corner.
The one shop, I forget if it was there when I was with you, Ed, or if it was another time when I was there myself. I remember I found some really good stuff in the one back room in like the value boxes, but like you got to.
James says the dust is free because ain't nothing else in there. I can tell you, we went to the Mickey Mantle shop and everything in there was priced pretty reasonable. The boxes,
their wax was decent. We didn't. I think buy anything. Like you bought some hats and stuff, but we didn't end up. We ended up going back to the house and opening the football cards that I brought up, right? And then you had Bowman Platinum.
And I got some Bowman Platinum. Because I did buy we went to the Baseballism. I don't know if anybody knows that store online, but there's one there at Cooperstown, and there's one at the in Iowa at the Field of Dreams. And I love that shop. If you like, they're starting to make team stuff now, but that's where I get the 6 plus 4 plus 3 equals 2. The 643 double play hat, and I got the Griffey 8-bit hat, and I love that shop. That's some cool stuff.
You know, it'd be a really cool item.
Me too.
Like this would be an insanely cool item. Like we were like people talk about like vintage autographs. Like there's so many signed Mantle balls out there. There's so many signed Mantle photos out there. I wonder how many signed Mantle beer cans there are out there. Can you imagine having a signed Mantle beer can? That'd be fucking amazing. I would pay good money for that.
Well, yeah.
If any exists, it's going to be not a whole lot. So you will have to pay up for that if one ever comes to auction.
His playing days would probably be bottles. I don't know when cans came about, but.
Well, I mean, canned beer was around the 80s, and that's when he was doing all the signings.
Right, yeah. I can tell you at Cooperstown, though, you don't buy anything card-related at Cooperstown itself. The autographs, cards in there, nothing. It's so over. They had a Johnny Bench picture I wanted so bad, but it was probably $200 overpriced.
See, that's where you're wrong. Because when I went with Michael O., I went into the gift shop and I found a second-year certified autograph card of Todd Helton for $20. And because I know he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, I bought that.
Todd Helton sucks.
I bought it for $20.
Mediocre bum.
I did buy a replica Gary Carter plaque, the see-through. That thing, I love that. I really wanted the bench, but they didn't have the bench. But they had the.
Yeah, they don't have everyone. I wish they had like Ashburn. That'd be awesome.
Right. Who was the one? There was one guy that had.
It was like Lee Smith. Lee Smith
Was it Lee Smith?
on
Everything Lee Smith was discounted.
Like the Lee Smith plaque. Every other plaque was like $40-$50. Lee Smith was like $10.
Well, it had some other
like,
cool little thing too for the Hall of Fame, and his was the only one discounted. Yeah, the coins. His was discounted, and everybody else's because they had 2 Gary Carters, and I was like, ooh.
Wait, do they sell plaques of everyone?
No.
Okay, good.
No. Why, do you want Camp Hansen?
I was like, if they fucking sell a Camp Hansen plaque,
they might. I don't know who I didn't look because I would have sent it to you. I would have got it, mailed it to you. But I have it's on my bookcase in my bedroom.
I would have did a live video smashing it to pieces. "2024 Hobby Bold predictions."
Do you guys have a 20?
You also realize, like, usually by now we would have actually known probably for like a month or two. Fanatics hasn't released the design for 2024 tops.
See, Orlando's on the case. Just
there
checked
you go,
eBay,
Orlando.
and he found an autographed Mantle light beer poster. Now, it's not a beer can, but it is beer paraphernalia.
But didn't
Mantle
Mantle do a Miller Lite commercial back in the 80s, Orlando? I'm pretty sure he did with like Dick Butkus or somebody. I think he was in a Miller Lite commercial. If I remember correctly.
I had multiple dealers here in the Philly area tell me that like he signed just so much in the 80s and the very early 90s. So I can only
right?
You can only sign so many baseballs and photos. I'm sure he got odds and ends and other type of items to sign. So I'm sure there's one beer can out there. There's one beer can out there.
It's probably sitting in somebody's like bar somewhere on a shelf. Just got tons of dust forgotten about. Yeah, because that's just crazy. So, well, as like Mike, for you, all the stuff you picked up this year, pre-war, some major stuff, man. I've been lucky enough to be with you with some of it. What do you have one that stands out or a purchase that stands out to you or anything this year?
I don't know. I mean, spoilers.
He's going to say Topanga.
Picking up too much, but no, I regret not buying more of those. Could have flipped those big time. Topanga cards. That's like the hottest card of the year.
Well, your autograph, the sticker was not in line. That was bugging me.
I think I don't know. I'm always just happy to pick stuff up. But when I go to the National and you find that stuff, like, being patient at the National can hurt you or help you. Saves you some money sometimes, but sometimes some things you plan on getting disappear. I've seen the same thing happen at the Philly show. But definitely the National experience. You guys touched on it before. I think reconnecting with Mike Fabian, Eastern Connecticut Sports Cards. You guys should check out his channel. I love his style of videos, just showing off like Yankee stuff the same way I would, and it's not necessarily all the big Yankees guys. Like, I think today his video he showed off who was it?
Tim
Mike
Salmon
Ford or something, like just these guys who probably played like 15 games.
Yeah, he had Tim Salmon cards, man.
Yeah, but he still does a little more. Like I still collect everything, but I definitely focus in on the Philly stuff more so than I ever have. Just because you got to tighten up a little bit.
Right. I mean, that's honestly what drew me to your channel, because me and you collect very similarly. I collect Mets, you collect Phillies. Ed does Phillies and non-sports, so I have I like the non-sport too with him. So Ed's got to have something to keep him around, So
Yeah,
But
but
it's
everyone's doing
just-
non-sports now. We
It
getting
was-
popular.
So fun to just reconnect and everyone getting together. Every year we go to the National. It's like, it's almost like a high school reunion type of thing or something like that. Like you just fall back in line with everyone and have a good time. And that, that was obviously pretty great. Even going to Big Chicken.
right, all Big Chicken.
Which is by far the main reason Ed's full of crap. Ed's a bullshitter. Like, he's, I don't want to go to Atlantic City because of the crime and, this and that. Ed wanted it 3 years in Chicago because of Big Chicken. And if he tells
That's
you
right.
otherwise, he's full of shit.
He ain't gonna stay in the same room, that same apartment.
Damn
because
right.
Big Chicken's
Dude, I
right.
want to buy a Shaq rookie now because of Big Chicken.
That's what Ed's
Hey,
doing. He's
hey,
searching
hey,
Airbnbs, searching by closest to Big Chicken.
So people might want to know, after my show, I do like an after show where people come on and stuff. Joe asked Ed last week, is Big Chicken really that good? We were like, without hesitation, hell yeah.
Even Mike O liked Big Chicken. Do you know how fucking hard that is for even Mike O to like Big Chicken?
He even
It
ate the
was
bread, Ed. He ate the bread. He went and ran for 14 hours after that, but he ate the bread.
The next time the Nationals in Chicago, I'm going to Big Chicken every goddamn day. I'm going to eat every chicken in this room.
This is one thing I will say about Mike at the National. It is definitely his Christmas. He is so excited. He can't wait to get there every morning, and he's one of the last people to leave every day, without a doubt. So,
well, he was definitely the last person to leave that one day where it took you guys 3 hours to go 2 blocks in the car. Fucking Mike O closing down
that was
the
the
National.
F Chicago day.
I have a tendency to stay at the Philly show. The doors shut at 5, and then 20 after 5, I'm like, all right, well, I guess I better walk out.
The
Right.
janitors literally chase him out of the building.
Anybody have any John Daly autos? I do not. I would like to have one. Yeah, Land. Anybody goes to Chicago, if you know where the casino is from the show, it's right before. It's down the bottom of the hill there, going towards the casino.
Dude, that's where the next YouTube meetup needs to be, at Big Chicken. I'm just saying.
I
Needs to
don't
be a
think
Big
we
Chicken.
fit in there.
I know they had a line out there just
They had
for
a
like
porch. They have a porch. You can stay out on the porch.
I'm like shocked Ed hasn't made the trek down to Center City to go to Big Chicken, unless he hasn't.
Well, it's in the
Yeah.
Comcast Center, though. There's nowhere to park down there.
So one
I
more
could see you
question.
taking a $50 Uber just to get Big Chicken and back.
I thought he was doing it. What's the Pequods? Not Pequods. What the other place? He was doing it to go there.
We definitely got to go to Pequods.
Pequods is that after getting those commercials, because my phone listens to me. I was like, oh my goodness, yeah, we missed out. But anyway, one last question, or maybe it's the last question. I don't know. I just pop. Favorite release of the year?
I mean, I honestly didn't open anything because I'm not paying all that money for sealed wax.
Ed doesn't collect modern cards either. So.
Yeah, he just gets dead guys.
Yeah, I just buy the dead.
I mean, I always like Flagship every year because I like building those team sets and such.
Now it could be last year's card that was released this year. I'll throw that in because
I mean, I did like Platinum Anniversary a lot. This
yeah,
time.
I was great.
They made too many parallels, though. God damn, they oversaturate with the
They're going
parallels.
Panini style there, but
That's what Amari said. They've hired some of the Panini people. So
I
be ready
mean, there's
for
a lot
the
of products I
Speedway.
haven't even opened that I like, but
I can tell you my favorite, Topps Black and White.
that was a nice one.
Love
for
that
sure.
product.
There's still plenty of products to choose from. We still have, Bowman's Best on the way, and
Top
else we got?
Stadium Club hasn't been released.
Stadium Club's going to be mid to late January. They'll probably announce Platinum Anniversary and stuff like that.
There's too many products. There's just too many.
I agree. It's
too many.
Say it again. Say it again. Say it again with feeling.
There's too many. God damn. There's too many.
Fire Brian Johnson.
See?
Bob Ross is cool.
And I love modern, baby. I love
I
modern.
missed out on the Bob Ross cards. I wanted to buy a few boxes of that.
So Orlando, what in the vintage field? You said you like open and heritage. I did 74 is my favorite because that's when me and my dad started opening stuff when I was a little thing.
I liked Archives a lot, by the way, this year. Those pins were awesome.
Just curious though, Orlando, what's your favorite vintage year? I know I have one, but
I liked so many. 53 Topps, 51 Bowman.
I could have swore Orlando. I think he answered that before on one of his videos.
Oh, I'm sure he answered everybody's name.
I can't remember
64
that.
and 65 Topps. I like those a lot too.
I want to.
I like the televisions, man. The Bowman television year. What is that? 55. 55.
I know it's going to seem like the obvious one, but I think he said I think it was 52 Topps.
53 for Amari, 56 for James.
I like 53 better than 52, including the mantle.
And I mean, I love that Bowman color, 50 to 53. But I really, when it comes to tops, I like the 53 tops.
The 60s don't get enough love, man. 61, 62, 64.
71 tops. I was not expecting that, really, with the black border. 62 tops. I really like the Fleer, too. The 1 year Fleer. Just a basic card. I just like that.
I was off by 1 year. Damn.
I like 57 Topps design. I just wish the cards were more colorful.
Right.
They're very bland coloring on those.
What was the year they used a lot of the same pictures of like the year before? Was that
55 and 56 sometimes?
Right.
I like 56 Topps a lot too.
They do that a lot with the food and beverage cards.
62 is like the worst year though, because that's the one where it's all just a bunch of pictures of guys without hats on.
89 in the silver.
Yeah, but 62, I like the wood design. It looks awesome.
The images are just rough on a lot of them. Not all of them.
I just like the 53, just how the portrait style. I just really, really like that style of card.
When my dad gave me his vintage cards, he had a bunch of 62 and he wrote on a bunch of them. I'm like, what? You wrote on them? He's like, that's what we did. We played with them.
That's what my dad said. My dad they're all, it says traded and what team they're on and all this stuff.
My dad gave his away, so lucky you guys.
62, yeah, I heard the story. 62 has nice subsets also.
One of them had the heads punched out. I'm like, oh, you must not like this part. Oh boy.
So my dad they did the flip. They used to do that, and they used to set up their teams in the floor and play games with them where they pushed them around the field and everything. So, they got well loved, needless to say. But, that's what I was saying earlier. They didn't know. There were, nickel a pack, which was not cheap in that day. I'm not trying to say that, but I mean, it was just as much a toy as the Cowboys and Indians they had.
Yeah, then you put them up on the wall, put a little pinhole in it, put them on a little board.
Speaking of 53, will Ella De La Cruz living set rookie be out this coming Thursday? Is it? Is De La Cruz set for this because it's the first one of the year? It might. I don't know.
Possibility. I missed out on the Ryan Howard they did a few weeks ago. I forgot to order any.
Man, I was gonna text you to tell you that, but I was like,
I saw that he was in it, and I just for whatever reason I was like, I'll order it later in the week, and then about a week and a half later, I was like, oh damn it. So only because I like to order a little group of them because I do like to get one of them graded. Reese would probably have gotten one. Ed stopped because Ed's saving his money for his investment portfolio in Soto. He stopped collecting Phillies cards, but
That's fake news.
Yeah,
Spreading
I'm
lies
interested,
again.
Gary. I am really interested in the first checklist because, again, I think they held out some cards, or the way the falling of the rookies. I think the first one's going to be loaded again with guys that played at the end of last year. So
I do look forward to. I mean, I'd say probably the first week in February, maybe the second week in February for the Top Series 1. I'll look forward to that. And like you said, the checklist, and like I said earlier, the design hasn't been released, so.
Right. They haven't released. Well, Fanatics is taking over, and a lot of things they're doing now is very Fanaticy. Fanatics knows how to sell product, man. And so
I wonder who their cover boy will be.
And what they're going to do to make a chase in it, like they did with the
It's going to be
Tom
Ohtani.
Brady card, and what who knows? I don't think they need
Bet
to do
the
all
farm
of
it'll be Ohtani.
I mean, typically a guy who would sign as a free agent wouldn't be in it until Series 2, but I could,
I can see
technology is
Ohtani.
getting better where they can do good photoshopping. Look at some cards from like the mid to late 90s. There's some bad photoshopping in some Topps cards. It's like a Tom Gordon Phillies card. It's like so clear he's pitching in Yankee Stadium. The just uniform looks so fake.
Hey James, if you get a chance, I was on JD's channel last night, which he released today, and we talked about collecting old school as kids, rubber bands, shoe boxes. It's pretty interesting. We had a good time. You ought to catch that. It was a good time with JD. February 14th is the reported release date for Series 1. So you better get your
I think Series 1 will be loaded with rookies. I think Series 2 will obviously have a good crop as well. Like Yamamoto will probably be in Series 2.
I think they did a good job this year spreading them out. I think Dela Cruz just didn't make the cut because I don't think anybody expected him to come up that early. I think he was on the list for this next year anyway. We get mad, but they do have a list at the beginning of the year of the players that are going to.
The cutoff is just
so early.
Super early now. It's like June. And Update, like there's a lot of good players in Update. There's probably no superstars, but there's good players that have rookie cards in that. I know a lot of people have talked it down, but and then if you look at the inserts and autographs and stuff, like the big guys are in there. I actually think Topps Update was solid this year.
Yeah,
not great, but solid.
At least this year, both the Rookie of the Year guys were in the product this year. We're not going to have them next year with the Rookie Cup and the rookie symbol like we had Marvin Harrison second. Not Marvin here. Michael Harrison the second for the
I thought you were talking about Wander Franco for a second.
Well, we'll say way Wander when he did it.
Yeah, and guess what? All that's irrelevant now because the dude's going to be in a jail cell.
Yeah. So, Amari, which Acuna are you thinking will probably be in Series 1 box? I think the guy that the Mets got in the trade, I think he's probably at least a few years away. Living set Frank Howard is out right now, Maiko. Everybody, any of the not popular guys that sit on them and see if their living set takes off.
I haven't really bought much living set recently other than
living set cards.
Guys. I think they're awesome. It's
a collector's thing.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't paid enough attention. I know even the older ones, there's certain ones that are, I guess, go for a decent price, but I feel like generally, I guess if you buy them in a bunch cheap enough, they're always somewhat saleable. But
so Amari thinks Acuna would be on there for Series 1. That's a very good. I just think Ohtani is going to, because what he did last year, he just pitching and hitting, and
he could be, or it could be a rookie in Series 1 and Ohtani in Series 2. Who knows?
Right. And it wouldn't be wrong if they did have Acuna. I mean, he's one of the best players in baseball right now as well. So, I mean, that is huge. So one last question.
Ooh.
Where's Snell? Where's Montgomery go? Bellinger? Any thoughts?
Man, someone needs to sign Trevor Bauer. That dude's going to be on a mission to destroy the Dodgers. Highly motivated.
Yeah, Bauer. I forget about Trevor Bauer all the time. I'm surprised he hasn't signed yet.
He had an almost better season than Yamamoto in the Japanese league, and everyone conveniently forgets that.
I mean, I haven't heard any rumblings on him.
Nah, I don't think anyone's going to sign him.
At some point, you would think these guys would start signing. I mean, obviously there was the Ohtani hold up and, Soto moves, those big moves, but those moves have happened. I know it ran into the holidays because then you had Yamamoto. So we'll see. Maybe in the coming days, we finally start to see the floodgates open. I would think these guys would want to sign before spring training starts because we're really only we're not much more than a month away from pitchers and catchers.
Right? Scott Boras is the guy for the three that I named.
But
so you don't think anybody's going to pick up Bauer? You think he's going to be blacklisted?
It's looking that way. I thought he would have got signed already. He's going to be so cheap.
Yeah,
he's going to get like a 1-year deal. Like my thinking was he would get a 1-year deal for a couple million.
Yeah,
just to see like a more prove it to me type of deal.
Right.
I mean, he might, but I'm sure teams are going to wait. I mean, we'll see.
I would love.
The Phillies have like the biggest need for starting pitching, and he would be the perfect fit for the Phillies. Out of every team in baseball, Bauer's probably the best fit for the Phillies.
We have a number one, and then we have 4 number 5s on the Mets rotation. So that's how good the Mets rotation is.
It's just, I don't know. It'll be interesting because all these teams, like the Dodgers, obviously just signed a ton of guys. You would think the Mets at some point are going to sign a few guys. I mean,
yeah, that battery. Me and my dad talked about that for tomorrow's show. Just crazy. I might have accidentally released it today.
I think you might have.
Yeah, I think I did.
I may or may not have already watched the entire
I think you did. I just thought about it. I was like, I think I've released it by accident today. I've had so much trouble releasing stuff with the new, with my new stuff.
I mean, so teams like the Padres have overspent in recent years. Like, I don't see them spending a ton of money. The Yankees are a possibility to sign a pitcher for sure.
Yeah.
The Phillies act like they don't want to add anyone, but they offered Yamamoto over $300 million. So, it wouldn't surprise me, but I think they're looking for the value signing. Like, I don't think they're going to sign Blake Snell to a 7-year deal. But if all of a sudden he was willing to take a 4-year deal, which he probably won't, but
he's not going to want to do that.
Yeah, Snell and Montgomery. Well, how old is Snell now? Like, he's got to be in his 30s, right?
I'd assume he's about 30.
Because Montgomery's 31. And these guys want these 10-year deals.
The thing is, Montgomery's been a talented pitcher for a while, but he's never been as good as he could be until part of last year. He could easily be any pitcher could be a bad signing, but he's like a classic, gets a 5-year deal and you get a year out of him.
Right. And Bellinger had one good year. I can't just see.
I'm surprised nobody signed Rhys Hoskins yet.
I thought he was going to be a
this holding pattern with a lot of these guys.
I thought he was going to be a
Hoskins
Giant
with the Cubs. You keep hearing a little bit of Giants, Mariners. So at some point,
I wouldn't be upset if he signed with the Mets, where he can play first every once in a while, but the DH all the time. I mean, it make him right-handed heavy, but
crush the Phillies every couple weeks.
That'd be great. I would like that. I mean, you got 2 guys kind of the same type with him and Alonso in the lineup, but
there really haven't been a ton of trades this offseason either. Obviously, the Chris Sale one kind of came out of nowhere, which, listen, he could win 20 games and be awesome for the Braves, or he might only pitch 3 games.
Well, that's their second older pitcher they picked up, right?
He's kind of by buy somewhat low, sell high. I know Grissom's been a good
Dude,
prospect.
he hasn't
for a few
pitched since like
years.
the dead ball era.
Who, Sale?
Yeah, he hasn't pitched since the dead ball era.
Well, I can't believe they gave up Grissom, but I know they don't really have anywhere for Grissom to play. And I think, he's an everyday player, but, where's he going to play at on that team? I mean, it's an all-star infield.
I mean, Josh Hader, I don't know where he fits. He's really, really good.
Yeah,
Statistically, he's on his way to the Hall of Fame, but he's also
that's
like there's been a lot of talk that he doesn't want to pitch more than one inning. He doesn't want to pitch in this game. He doesn't want to pitch
Well, he
you don't know
definitely
if
would have been
that's-
on the Phillies then because Rob Thompson will blow him out.
You
by
don't know if
July.
that's bullshit, just teams throwing it out there to try and hurt demand, or if it's true. I don't know. You would think he would fit the Phillies because the reality is their bullpen's been very good the last 2 years, and they've lost the last 2 years in heartbreaking fashion for two reasons. Their starting staff's been excellent. They've lost because their offense has gone cold with the last couple games of the year, and they've lost late leads that have cost them because they haven't had an established closer. Against the Astros, I mean, Jose Alvarado was excellent in 2022, and he was dominant early in the postseason, but they kind of ran him into the ground. And in Game 4 of the World Series,
Let's not rehash this.
Aaron Nola loaded the bases, but
Please,
hadn't
let's
allowed
not
a run
rehash
yet.
this.
And then Alvarado came in and gave up all three inherited runners and another runner. And then he gave up a huge home run in a bizarre and a poor move by Rob Thompson. I know Ed's all hyped up. We might get rant video number 2 from him tonight before the year's over.
They extended that fucking
But
guy, man.
in Game 6 of the World Series in 2022,
How do you extend that guy?
Zach Wheeler was dominant and had a low pitch count, and they brought in Alvarado, and he gave up a 3-run moonshot to Alvarez. And then this year, Craig Kimbrell took 2 losses. The one was a tie game.
Oh
but
my
he gave up a
god!
run. And then the heartbreaking game that Big Scott watched, with me upstate.
I
where
felt
he
for
gave
y'all
up-
guys that
where he
night.
gave up the couple but they didn't score enough in a few games. That's not the only reason the Phillies lost, but they could use an established closer in this we don't believe in an established closer bullshit.
Yeah, that's definitely
Theoretically
not the
could
only
have
reason they
cost you
lost.
a couple World Series. So
They lost
Well,
because
you
their
would
manager's
think a Josh
fucking
Hader would
idiot.
fit, but I don't expect it unless the price comes down substantially, which
You have to put more balls in play that don't leave the ballpark. You have to score runs on base hits eventually.
oh well,
Yeah.
yeah, they could use another outfielder that gets hits too. I'm just saying.
So
I don't think
mean,
it would help. Would that help? I mean, it's just going to be the same lineup every day. YOLO.
Yeah, that lineup works during the regular season.
A lot of celebrating in this Vikings game for a touchdown when you're losing 30-3.
Oh, sounds like the Eagles.
Well, guys, do y'all have anything else that you want to talk about to close out this 2023 Let's Talk?
No, I mean it's been a fun year. Appreciate you having me on the channel. Hopefully, I find the time to make more videos in 2024. I always feel like I don't really make that many videos in comparison to years ago, but I'm sure I get a decent share out there.
Yeah. I think you're too hard on yourself. Your thing is you get them out in clumps, but that's because of your schedule, your life schedule. So
yeah, I definitely looking forward to collecting stuff and picking up more Phillies cards, old stuff, new stuff. I like when new products come out and the excitement of seeing what's out there and what's new to collect. Not that you have to get it right away. And then selling wise too, kind of interesting to see what things happen. It's fun to do, but it's also a unbelievable amount of work for those who aren't aware.
yeah, I don't know how you do it. I talked to JD about it as well. Last night on you guys that do the selling the way y'all do. I mean, he doesn't even touch what you're doing. Would you say you got now over 36,000 cards?
It's about 35 right now because I haven't listed a lot lately. I got a lot to list in the coming days, but I will be
Right.
packing about a dozen eBay orders and about 3 live sale orders before midnight to kind of close
Man,
out.
you're flipping to the last seconds of 2023.
The flipper
I'm getting
of the
stuff
year.
out. Hey, I try and get stuff out as quickly as I can. So that way, when Big Scott goes to the mailbox on January 2nd, he's got an SGC order and a couple other cards.
You
waiting for him.
shifty,
That's right.
shisty flipper guy.
Anything from you to end this day of last
Angry
of
old man.
2023, fire Brian Johnson?
I definitely
Who
feel
would have thought that the grumpiest one of the three of us on the final day of the year would have been by far Ed?
As the youngest of the three.
it's weird. I got the weirdest dynamic though, because like I am the youngest. I'm one of the youngest, but I'm actually the most tentured when it comes on YouTube. So it's kind of a weird dynamic.
Ed's been making
Yeah.
YouTube videos since he was in diapers.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Philly sports is
card I got today, Jumping
Philly
up to get it in the camera. Hey,
Back when Ed was he was a Travis Lee and Ricky Otero super collector back in the day.
I
throwing
would not
his mashed potatoes.
definitely wasn't picking up Travis Lee back then because I saw how much he sucked ass. So I'm like, I'm not buying Travis Lee. Then I'm like, that guy's definitely too big. When you would watch Mark McGuire and the Royd Monsters go to the plate, so this guy's definitely on something. So not buying him. But 2023, absolute disaster for Philly sports. The last 2 years have been a disaster for Philly sports. Absolute fucking disaster. So hopefully,
I would say they've probably been excellent years that have ended in heartbreak and disaster.
Hopefully 2024 is better from that perspective. Hobby was great in 2023. Finally dealing with reasonable dealers. Big chicken was delicious. Love me some big chicken. YouTube got to get a little better. We got to shore it up a little bit on YouTube. Got to stop talking about value so much. Let's relax. Let's get back to collecting.
Yet Ed wants to sign Trevor Bauer due to the great value you can get his contract.
Stop
He wants to
poking
sell
holes
his
in my
rookie
argument.
his rookie cards. So yeah, I just want to. I had a good year. I got a grill, Carrie Fisher.
Oh yeah,
Had that little extra hop in your step after. I was like, oh, I think he got something he wanted.
Yeah, got to the Hall of Fame this year. Had a great time at the National, even though my back was the worst I've ever felt in my life.
And you had to walk 47 miles to find the car in the freaking parking garage.
Yeah,
And it was
and
all locked.
at least it was loose by then.
Bleep Chicago.
I have, I've done 5 years on YouTube now. I'm in my 6th. Way behind you two guys. I really appreciate you guys' friendship, as long as Dave and Mike and Carlos and Victor, and I can go on with everybody that comes in my chat regularly.
Come on, keep naming.
Got to meet IRP,
There we
Brad, all you guys.
What about my boy Bink Scott?
Bink Scott, Gary, I can't wait to meet him, so we can take a picture together so everybody knows we are two different people. Met 357 at the National. Paul C makes me laugh everywhere I see him, on every channel. Maury, thank you for being a constant here. James, no better people, you and your partner. She's awesome. Shay, I really appreciate everybody in the hobby, everybody outside the hobby, my support system I have. Like I said, Saturday, I've had a great this has been a year of great ups and downs, not little ones. I went from thinking about quitting YouTube to thinking that's outlandish of me, but I get so much joy on these Sunday nights. And I really want to thank you guys. And I love this hobby and everything it does for all of us. Even the ranting, I love it. So to a 2024, I want to give y'all a big see ya.
General Sherman did nothing wrong, baby.